6 rounds.
Yeah, he thought it would reach the halfway point. I thought he showed incredible poise and professionalism when he got hurt to wait and set his man up. Littles was trying hard. I think the cut maybe took him out of his game a little. Certainly an uncharacteristic fight for him to just go that stir crazy. But the fight was short and exciting.
It's ironic because we kept trying to make a point of the fact that both are humble, both are personable, yet all of that went right out the window once those guys got in the ring and the bell sounded and they turned into 2 wild men.
Steve, almost as it should. Not necessarily wild men, but, you know, you leave the niceness here. You take out the hostility and the aggression in the ring. It's just a fighter's mode.
All right, so coming up next, Bobby, the Prince takes center stage as Naseem Hamed takes on #1 rated Daniel Alicea for the WBO Featherweight Championship. Those on this side of the Atlantic claim they haven't seen anything like Prince Naseem since the emergence of Muhammad Ali in terms of showmanship, ability, and brash confidence. At just 22 years of age, he's already an idol here in England, worshipped by his many adoring fans. But tonight, a major step as he launches his antics and his talents on the American viewing public.
I'm an entertainer. And a banger and a champion too. I'm not bragging anything, but I'm too good. I'm wicked, you know what I mean?
Naseem Hamed began his flamboyant boxing career at a local gym in Sheffield, England, when he was barely out of the 1st grade.
We started teaching him the basics, and he just got better and better, but from 7 years of age, he was never out of here. Every day, he'd come in here every day and train.
Years of hard work and dedication finally paid off. At only 21 years of age, Hamed had already knocked out 17 of his 19 opponents and had earned his first shot at a world title against Steve Robinson.
Knowing that I was going to be a world champion has always been in my heart. I've always wanted it. I wanted it so bad, and I went out and got it.
WBO Featherweight Champion of the World, the incredible, unbelievable Prince Naseem Hamed.
Since winning the title 9 months ago, the man known as Prince Naseem insists the fast cars, the big house, fame, and of course a world championship belt have not altered his course.
Feet are firmly on the ground. I ain't let anything get to my head. I'm going to keep knocking them over. I'm going to keep training. I'm going to keep winning.
To keep on winning, Hamed must vanquish perhaps his greatest challenge, a hard-hitting, undefeated fighter, Daniel Alicea, who has knocked out 13 of his 15 opponents.
So I think he's a good fighter. Strong, he's young, he's ambitious. But he's got to remember he's up against the best fighter in the world. I will keep on winning, and I will keep on bringing world titles back to Britain, and I'm going to go down in the history books. I'm destined to be a legend.
Yeah, he's a piece of work, isn't he? Hoping someday to grab a piece of British boxing history. Tonight here in Hamed's backyard, the Newcastle Arena in Newcastle, England, Prince Naseem Hamed puts his title on the line against Daniel Alicea. Well, earlier tonight in our co-feature, the timekeeper, Alan Archbold, admitted to making a mistake at stopping the 1st round prematurely at 2 minutes. Now, remember, Littles had been knocked down and had probably saved him. The timekeeper, the British Board of Boxing Controls, and the WBA wouldn't comment on camera. They admit to making a mistake. They regret the mistake, but it didn't affect the outcome of the fight as Lyle stopped Littles in the 3rd round. Now, a mistake like that should never happen at this level in any sport. With that, let's get back to the business at hand. We're closing in on our main event, the WBO 126-pound or featherweight championship here in Newcastle. Good crowd on hand on a very warm, muggy night. But when Hamed arrogantly strutted into the ring to fight rugged Welshman Steve Robinson in Wales for the title, he was soundly booed by 16,000 hostile fans. By the end of the fight, the Prince had won over the crowd. There's no doubt as to his enormous popularity here in England, but Ferdy, how would you compare, how would you measure his appeal, his popularity with that of other British boxers?
Well, he's coming on. Like Nigel Benn began, nobody liked him. He was too mouthy, but he began knocking out everybody. He got a huge, huge crowd. Frank Bruno undoubtedly got one of the biggest support by losing to a series of American heavyweights until he beat Oliver McCall. And then, of course, there's a guy that's deity here, and that's Henry Cooper. This guy's going to have to fight about 10 years of big, big fights to get anywhere near Henry Cooper's status with the British public. He's just the best.
Your expectations for tonight and a prediction?
I think it's going to be a tough little fight for the Prince, and if he doesn't get surprised, the Prince should win and continue working his way up, and I think he should be in America. I think he should be fighting in the United States.
Well, let's see, in 10 years he'll be king, I guess.
I hope so.
King. All right. Many of you back in the U.S. may be wondering if Hamed is legit or hype. Bobby, your assessment.
Well, Steve, with a guy who's as charismatic as he is with all the antics and the flair, there has to be some hype thrown in. But he's unquestionably a talent, a good talent. He has an incredible defense that you almost can't hit him twice in a row with 2 punches, cleanly. He's a good puncher with both hands. I think he gives any world champion a good rough tumble, but we can't gauge him till he fights the Boom Boom Johnsons or the Vasquezes.
Now, the undefeated Alicea, a former world junior champ, is an exciting prospect with lots of polish, but experience is a question. Only 15 fights. Is he a test for Hamed, Bobby, who's not been tested to this point?
You know, he's a better test than maybe he's had recently. He's 5'7", tremendous height, good reach, a good puncher, a lot of knockouts, much like the Prince, but I don't think he's quite there yet. One of my biggest worries is he's only been 8 rounds, never 10 or 12, and that's difficult in championship fights to not have been the route. So I think all the edges in this case favor the champion.
Well, let's take a look at the challenger, Alicea. We asked Alicea, how do you prepare for a fighter like Hamed, who's so unique in style and demeanor, in stark contrast to Hamed's bombastic and explosive, electrifying personality? Alicea calmly said he realized that Hamed tries to make you look bad, so he's ready for all of the mental games. He told us he won't look at Hamed's antics and histrionics before the fight. I guess that's easy enough to say, but I wonder how you block out the crowd reaction and the whole circus environment, which is about to begin as soon as you see Naseem. So here is the #1 contender, Daniel Alicea, from Santurce, Puerto Rico, 15-0 with 13 knockouts, his first world title shot. And you hear the crowd reaction, the pro-Naseem crowd here in England. Bobby, what do you think of this kid?
We know he's got tremendous height and reach for that lighter weight, only 126 pounds, 5'7". He seems to have good boxing skills. I've seen some tape on him, not any of his full fights. If he can really punch well, and his defense is good, he should be a nice little test for Naseem. And you know, he didn't have a tremendous amount of respect for Naseem. He called him a dwarf.
Yeah, those were very sharp words by Daniel Alicea. The question is, how do you get close enough to a fighter that nobody's been able to get close to yet? And that's the question for Daniel Alicea, who, as Bobby points out, does have punching power, but will he be able to land on the champion, Naseem? Alicea said, I won't concentrate on Naseem's nuttiness, just on pressing him. His defense is too open. I've had 2 or 3 months to figure him out. And then he took that verbal swipe, calling Naseem a dwarf. And if Alicea had said that in Yemen, where Naseem's parents are from, he'd be in deep trouble. Hamed is the equivalent of the Lord in Yemen. Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
And now, making his way to the ring, here comes the defending WBO featherweight champion of the world, Britain's Naseem Hamed.
Well, they're used to royalty here in England, and Prince Naseem knows exactly how to milk it. As this crowd erupts with Naseem making his explosive entrance. Bud Schulberg said boxing is show business with blood. We surely don't want to see much blood, but Hamed obviously plays the showbiz angle to the hilt. Look at this. He's not really a prince, in case you're wondering. He was dubbed Prince by his manager, Brendan England, who discovered him fighting on a schoolyard ground at age 7. The son of Yemeni immigrants, he grew up and still lives in Sheffield, England. His picture is on a stamp in Yemen, and it hangs on a wall at the Yemen airport. right next to the president. Here he comes.
Let's do it.
Do not try that at home. From the Arthur Murray School of Boxing, Prince Naseem Hamed. He's treated like a rock star here in England and says he'll send shockwaves all over America. To the tail of the tape, the champion Hamed just 22, Alicea 23. Hamed listed at 5'5", but could be 2 to 3 inches shorter. Alicea 5'7". The weight even, 125 3/4, and the 1.5-inch reach advantage for Alicea. And the WBO rules for this title fight. The scoring under the 10-point must system. 3 judges will score. No standing 8. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Only the referee can stop the fight. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell except in the final round. If an accidental foul occurs before the end of the third, it's a no decision. After the end of the third, they go to the scorecards. Over to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Please be upstanding for the playing of the national anthems.
Un cielo siempre nítido le sirve de dosel y dan arrullos plácidos las olas a sus pies cuando a sus playas llegó Colón. Exclamó lleno de admiración. Esta es la linda tierra.
gentlemen in attendance, boxing fans joining us across the UK on Sky Sports, and sports fans joining us around the world, we welcome you to the Newcastle Arena here in beautiful Newcastle, England, as it is time for the main event of the evening. And it's all brought to you by Frank Warren's Sports Network and Don King Productions, as sponsored by MBC and Adidas. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the World Boxing Organization. President Francisco Valcarcel, supervisor at ringside John Montano, along with the British Boxing Board of Control, the stewards in charge, Nipper Reed and Bob Graham. Our position at ringside, Dr. Alan Trotter, timekeeper at the bell, Albert Kelleher. Judges at ringside, scoring this bout, Rafael Lopez, Victor Salamon, and Giuseppe Tondaro. And introducing to you our referee in charge, working in this, his 40th world title bout, introducing Raul Cais. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, it's showtime! With the WBO Featherweight Championship of the World scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the red corner, entering the ring wearing red, white, and blue trunks, fighting out of and representing Santurce, Puerto Rico. He weighed in at 8 stone, 11 3/4 pounds, or 125 3/4 US pounds. Here is the former amateur champion who is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with 15 wins, no losses, 13 big wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, he is making his first attempt at a world title. Please welcome the undefeated WBO #1 featherweight contender, introducing Daniel Pipino Alicea. And his opponent across the ring on my right is the colorful defending world champion, fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing gold trunks with black trim. He is hailing from his hometown of Sheffield, England, and proudly representing his heritage of Yemen. His weight the same as his opponent, 8 stone, 13 3/4 pounds, or 125 3/4 US pounds. His outstanding unbeaten record includes 21 wins, no losses, with 19 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, he is making his second defense of his title. Please welcome one of boxing's young sensations. Here is the one and only and one-of-a-kind, undefeated WBO featherweight champion of the world, introducing Prince Naseem Ahmed. Once again, our referee in charge of this bout now to give instructions, Raul Cais.
Ahmed already going to the taunting tactics in the face of Alicea. Ahmed predicts a KO inside 3 rounds.
Abajo. Bone here on down. Keep your punches up. Good luck. Buena suerte los dos.
Raul Cais out of West Covina, California, who opted not to wear a microphone during the fight. So Daniel Alicea and Prince Naseem Ahmed. Ahmed, in a nutshell, unique, outstanding reflexes, blurring hand speed, his flamboyant, cocky, showboating style, masking the fact that he is deceptively strong. He knocked out his last opponent, Saeed Lawal, from Nigeria, on the first punch of the fight, 3 seconds in.
Well, you know, you can see how he jumps in. He's got great spring in his legs. He's quick, and that creates a lot of power. But I'll tell you what, Alicea was quietly confident today, and he looks like he came here to do a job.
He said he wanted to be centered. Keep this into boxing. Let him play around all he wants. But he's coming in nice and tight, gloves up, and keeping an eye on the Prince.
Will Alicea have more questions for Prince Naseem than anyone has had in the past?
Naseem with his hands down, maintaining his speed of foot and the way he moves his head for his defense. That could cause him big problems as he goes up the road.
Lots of defensive antics by the champion, Prince Naseem Hamed. Very elusive, as you can see.
If Alisea is going to have a chance in this fight, he's got to establish his jab. He's got a little bit of reach. He's got tremendous height, good leverage. He's got to start to land that jab, make Prince put his hands up.
He's long and rangy at 5'7". Hamed comes at you from all angles.
But if he gets caught coming in like that, it's going to be something. Because he comes in with his head first.
It has not happened yet. Here's a combination by Alisea, but Naseem Hamed able to elude any damage.
That's what we're talking about before. You get one clean right hand, but you can't get that second and third one in. He just immediately ducks and dodges and pulls all sorts of different moving and weaving angles to get out of the way.
And he often punches when he appears off balance.
He just appeared off balance that time.
Hamed shooting an uppercut straight down the middle.
I'll tell you, Alisea came here to do a job, Steve.
Keep an eye out for his left hook, but he's got power in both hands. Hamed inside a minute in the first round.
And Alisea not giving him any respect. He's coming right after him. Not going for the jive. He's keeping still. There you go.
Alisea, excellent all-around skills, but many here feel he's in too deep against Naseem. Oh, Naseem gets tagged with a straight right, and down he goes! Down he goes! For the first time as a pro, he is down! Hamed had never been down as a pro.
He's getting hit by that right hand, and this kid can really bang.
So now you see Naseem's hands are up. He stopped that hands on the ground. We talked about it earlier, Steve. I said if his hands were down and he got knocked down, you'd see him start to pick him up.
The time significant. 12 seconds. Alisea stunning Naseem Hamed and this partisan crowd by knocking Hamed down in the first round.
Just relax, deep breathe, deep breathe. Just a flash, deep breathe. Deep breathe, right up, right up. Just smoke it, just trying a little bit too hard, just flick, flick. And as he comes on to you, trying too hard, jumping into him, just let him come. You got me? Do you want a little drink?
Yeah, but
Give a drink, yeah, drink. And keep your concentration now. Pick him up.
Let's take a look at that knockdown. It was as big a surprise to the Prince as it was to everybody here, let me tell you, because this kid can bang. There's the right hand. Here's another one, and that one's right on the target, and the third one goes down. You see, that wasn't just one punch.
You see, he got hit. Now, it was 3 straight right hands. He got hit a couple times clean in a row, something not too many people have been able to do.
He'd better be careful not to be known as the fighter formerly known as Prince. We enter round 2. Daniel Alisea oozing with confidence now, and he's got to be careful too because the Prince is extremely powerful. And we'll see how he reacts. There was a sharp straight left by Naseem.
And Alisea took it very well. Got his attention for sure, but didn't wobble him, didn't hurt him.
The way he leans back is murder, Bobby, the Prince.
Alisea, the first man who's been able to, at least up till now, solve the befuddling style of Prince Naseem Hamed by knocking him down in the first round. And now Naseem lunging in with the right hand, didn't do anything to Alisea. The crowd reacted, but nothing there. And Alisea again coming back, but missing.
Alisea is trying to keep his hands tight, keep his defense tight. It's something he has to do because those punches from the Prince are going to come from every angle, Steve. And there's just no way to gauge when and where.
I'll say this, Alisea, very stylish and a fine ring technician.
And absolutely non-impressed with him being in the Prince. I wonder when's the last time the Prince started a fight and lost the first round 10-8. Look at that.
The defense of Naseem, and he invites him in. He says, go ahead, try hitting me on the chin.
He did try, and he dropped him when he did that last time.
In the first round, indeed. Now the dodging, the bobbing and weaving. I'll say this, Naseem's got his hands up. Usually he keeps them down by his sides.
The Prince does something Prince does something another great southpaw does from time to time, and that's Bernard Whitaker. He comes down low.
Straight to his back. He is staggered. Wobbly. He tells Raul he's okay.
He's in trouble, Steve. He's in trouble.
Naseem will try to finish it off.
He is in big, big trouble now.
Inside a minute to go in the second.
Remember, this kid's never been down.
Hamed getting off the canvas to try to end it here in the second. Lunging with a straight right. And just firing away. Digging to the ribs with the right. Back comes Alisea.
Alisea caught the Prince with a nice left hook, but I'll tell you what, his legs are still not totally under.
No, if he gets hit real hard now, he'll go down.
About 30 seconds remaining in the second round. The crowd exhorting Hamed on. In unquestionably Naseem's biggest test to date.
We've lost our graphics clock, but the time is winding down. This fight is over.
And
It's
down
done.
goes Alisea again.
The referee's holding him down.
That is it. It's over. Naseem does the backflip, signifying another victory. Naseem surviving a flash knockdown in the first round to knock out the #1 contender, Daniel Alisea, in round 2.
I tell you, Bobby, in both those knockdowns, his hand hit the canvas so hard that it bounced both times. That can't help him at all.
That sometimes happens with those long, lanky fighters. You know that, Bertie. They get hit, their head snaps, and that extra length gets them whipping to the ground.
Well, while he was going on, he was doing exactly what he said he was going to do. Alisea was keeping his head, and he was boxing nicely, but he got caught. And the Prince must really be the goods, because if he can punch that hard to this kid, he looks good.
And the fans here in England seeing for the first time how he reacts under pressure. As he puts Alisea on the canvas 2 times in round 2, the second time he never got up. Prince Naseem Hamed, who proves that big things do come in little packages. The reign of Prince Naseem continues. England's brightest boxing star getting his first American exposure tonight. There's the belt. His second successful defense of the WBO featherweight belt, improving his record to 22-0 with 20 knockouts. As his crowd exults.
Now, it's the first time in a very long time that I've seen the referee holding down a fighter that's trying to get up. And mercifully so, because if he gotten up, he'd have really gotten hammered.
We know there's less than 20 seconds left in the round. It's possible he could have survived, but his head did hit that canvas very hard. It made a serious thud.
Twice he did that. He hit and bounced off. But still in all, a commendable gutty showing by a guy that didn't come here to lose. He came here to win. And all credit to Alisea. He just got hammered. I mean, hammered good.
As we said earlier, the diminutive Prince Naseem Hamed disguising his power brilliantly. He gets that strength from the legs, and he has some kind of pop in his punches.
Well, you know what it is? He has terrific speed like Roy Jones Jr., kind of freaky, but he also leaps in with his punches, which creates a lot of power.
So this crowd here at Newcastle able to celebrate. Let's take a look at the first knockdown, guys.
All right, let's take a look at the first one. And as we can see, it's a very good right hand. That the left that followed wasn't as hard. Let's look at the next.
Here you see the same knockdown. It's a good right hand. It's well timed. Comes right around the gloves of Alisea, right in the temple and ear area, and he's out on his feet. That left hand really didn't even connect. He was already going down.
Here is the end of the fight. There's 2 looks of this. And by this time, it was just a hand writing on the wall. There was an uppercut. Both hands landed flush. No way that this guy should have gotten up. See the referee holding him down? Look at that. Bobby.
Here you see the end of the fight one more time. It's just, he's in trouble. He's not totally, his feet are not totally under him. He gets hit with a clean shot. There's another, and a left hand up underneath. You'll see it clean. There it is. It's a left hand. And once again, a lot of power generated from the legs of the Prince. He just jumps in, and Alisea hit the ground hard. Referee said, no, you're not getting up.
So officially it is ruled a TKO, 2:46 of round 2. Fortunately, Alisea is all right. Prince Naseem Hamed, hearing it from the crowd here in Newcastle, which is not very far from his hometown in Sheffield. There's been some thought about Hamed going back down to super bantamweight now to fight Marco Antonio Pereira. Plans are reportedly in the works for Hamed to fight WBC super featherweight champ Azuma Nelson in September, or he could wind up on the Selden Tyson card July 13th, which of course would be his American debut. That fight taking place in Las Vegas. So it really does appear, Bobby Ches, that he brings the real goods to the table.
Well, he's certainly a great puncher. He's got an elusive defense. It's just uncanny how quickly he can jump out of the way of punches. But he got hit by a fighter that's not Azuma Nelson. He got hurt and he was down.
So congratulations to Prince Naseem Hamed. And I guess while we stand by for post-fight interviews, let's get further your thoughts on what you saw here tonight. Quite a night, beginning, of course, with what we saw earlier tonight in the WBA Super Middleweight Championship, a foul-plagued affair, but also in the main event, for the first time, we saw Prince Naseem Hamed get tested to some extent, although it was a flash knockdown in the first round. He was able to bounce back and win in very explosive fashion.
And even though it was a flash knockdown, he got hit by 3 good straight right hands from a fighter who doesn't have the right hand, the power, or the tools of an Azuma Nelson, or of a Tom Boom Boom Johnson, or Vasquez, or any of the champions. Those fighters can hurt you badly if they hit you 3 straight times. So this was a test for him. This was certainly a test. He had to get off the floor to show his championship qualities. And in the Lyles-Littles fight, oof, that was a barn burner. That was just a good old-fashioned street fight.
Well, the interesting thing about Naseem Hamed, Bobby, as you know, he had been sparring with cruiserweights and heavyweights in leading up to this fight.
I read that, and a couple of the heavyweights said, we don't hold back at all because he'll hurt us. And I'm still going to have trouble swallowing that one because I know I couldn't spar with him and not hold back. We just wouldn't be able to do it because he's such a small guy. But he is unique. He's much like Roy Jones with his speed. He's jumping around. He's hard to hit clean twice. Jumps in, springs in with his legs, and slams home those punches.
Well, the Prince is a media darling here in England, and there is the swarm of media. The spotlight continues to shine on Prince Naseem. We'll have post-fight interviews after our British counterparts at B-Sky Beat Television finish up with theirs. He never met a microphone or a camera he didn't like. He seems just as comfortable in the glaring hot TV lights as he does in the ring. He has really captivated the boxing fans of this country with his theatrics and his skills. Calls himself a legend in the making, and tonight he set out to impress America with his first TV appearance in the United States here on Showtime. England has celebrated such star fighters as Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank and Frank Bruno recently, but when it's all said and done, Bobby, Prince Naseem Hamed could have a chance to be #1 in their hearts.
Well, certainly could, especially if he keeps performing this way. And as the talent level grows, if the performances stay in tow, you never can tell.
Can you imagine, and to some extent you can relate because you kept stepping up the ladder in weight, moving up. Can you imagine if this guy was a heavyweight?
Yeah, but if he was a heavyweight, he could never be that fast. He could never be that slippery or that tricky. You know, we always think that things like that. We think things like that. If Mike Tyson were a flyweight and hit like he did proportionately, you know, who would he be as a lightweight, a flyweight, a featherweight? He'd knock everybody silly. So it's kind of, you know, one or the other, I guess.
So the question is, and I know we've touched on this, but where does a guy like this go from here?
Well, he has to go after the Tom Boom Boom Johnsons, the Vasquezes, or, you know, if he takes on the Professor, Azuma Nelson, you know, that in itself is like taking on an army.
Well, it was an interesting night here. We're still standing by and waiting for Prince Naseem Hamed to come over to our man, the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. But, Bobby, while we do stand by, let's take a look at some of the action. This is where Naseem got shocked early on.
Yeah, right there you saw him catch a little right hand. That was a good clean right hand which really got his attention. He got hit with another one there, and boom. That was actually the third right hand. The first one grazed him, the second one rocked him good, and the third one got him to the ground. But he comes back, and you watch him. He knows what he's doing. He's setting his opponent up. He's keeping his hands a little higher. He lands a good, clean right hand. He timed Alisea. He moved right into it. It wobbled him. The left hand was just kind of the coup de grace because it didn't really land. He was on his way to the floor. And he can punch. The end of the fight, once again, he doesn't do it with the right hand this time. He does it with the left hand. He's coming forward. Again, his hands are up. He's taking this a little more seriously. Throws a nice right hand, but he rips up an uppercut there and then one more. That one, and you watch Alisea's head, and it slams into the canvas. He was in trouble.
So down went Daniel Alisea. Much more World Championship boxing action will be coming your way on Showtime and pay-per-view in the near future. Don't forget, Showtime Championship Boxing returns June 29th when Alexander Zulkin faces Henry Akinwande for the vacant WBO Heavyweight Championship. Also on the card, undefeated Mexican standout Ricardo Lopez defends his WBC strawweight title. Plus heavyweights Jeremy Williams and Tony Tucker battle for the vacant NABF title. See this triple header Saturday, June 29th at 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. And on Saturday, July 13th, it's champion against champion as WBA heavyweight champ Bruce Seldon defends his title against WBC champion Mike Tyson. Also featured that night, undefeated welterweight champ Felix Trinidad, IBF and WBC super welterweight champion Terry Norris, and women's boxing star Christy Martin. See this boxing extravaganza live on pay-per-view at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So here at the Newcastle Arena, set for post-fight interviews. Let's go to the fight doctor, Freddie Pacheco.
Well, I would imagine every heart in England stopped when you hit the canvas. How did yours feel?
It was brilliant to get hit with a good shot by a great fighter what was undefeated. I got straight back up. It was nice to feel a great shot, but I didn't even see it. So I got straight back up. I knew Allah was never, ever going to let me get beat. Allah zoomed me and Allahu Akbar that I got up. I was fine. I was focused. My feet was on the ground. I carried on. I looked for my shots, and I hit him with the hardest shot I could have give. I hit him with a hard shot. He couldn't take my power. I took his power.
Well, he hit you with 3 right hands. It wasn't one. There were 3 in a row. So don't think you went down from 1 punch. You went down from 3 good right hands. And I said to you, I'd like to show you how you got knocked down.
Let it go, Joe.
All right, and let's see what. Let's count those right hands, me and you.
A little flash shot, just a little flash shot.
Watch your first shot. 1. That's 1.
That's
now
1.
watch. That's 2.
That's 2. What? Look at
now
that
watch
chin.
3.
That
watch
chin's
3.
good. That chin's good.
3. So that's
okay,
3. That's a big chin to take that.
That's a wicked chin, as I say. After taking 3 shots like that by a very, very good fighter.
But you come back. Take a look at this.
Check this. Them legs are too big. Allah's with me all the way. I planted my shot. Boom. There you go. That shook him off his feet. I planted my shots. He was already gone. I didn't even have to hit him again so hard. But when he got back up.
And here's the end of the fight. Here's how it ended.
Let me see that beautiful combination, because when them Americans, anybody take that.
That was a great combination. A punches S.
I planted my feet there. Look, I seen him. I took the shot. I'm looking for it.
1, 2,
3, 4. Come on, baby. That last shot was so hard. That last shot was hard. He weren't going to get up from that. Look, the doctor just take it straight out of his mouth. I'm just so glad that I never, ever, I can't see myself losing. I'm going to come to the States.
Okay.
And I'm going to show the Americans I'm the best in the world.
I want to know if you're coming back, and Frank's right next to you. Are you coming back with Boom Boom Johnson? Are you coming back with one of the great American champs? Or are you coming back with Azuma Nelson, the professor who knows all?
You name him, and I'll fight him. I'm the best fighter in the world at my weight. I'll do Boom Boom. I'll do Johnson. I'll call him Poom Poom. I'll do Azuma Nelson. I'll do all of them. I ain't getting beat.
Take Azuma Nelson last of all, when he gets to be about 60. Frank Warren, where do we go?
Well, we would like to fight. I mean, speaking to Don about Boom Boom Johnson, we want to unify the titles. That's the business we're in. This guy wants to collect belts. He's a tremendous puncher, as you've seen. It's the first time he's ever been in trouble as a professional. Showed a lot of grit, a lot of guts, got off the floor, and you know, a great performance. Can't fault it.
You truly have everything to make a great marquee fighter. I hope you have continued success. And I hope we see you in America, where we'll love you like they love you here if you keep on winning. And then back to 2 winners, Steve Albert and Bobby Chess.
All right, Freddie trying to pick a fight there with the Prince. You know what's interesting is that the only time Naseem had ever been knocked down, I read this in preparation for the fight, he was 16 years old in the amateurs against a fighter named Fogarty. So moral victory to some extent for Daniel Alisea to become the first man to floor him in the pros.
Alisea did test him. He came here to test him. He didn't come here to lose. He came here to fight and came here to win. Unfortunately for him, he did not. But the thing is, the Prince, he moves so quickly, and he's always on an angle, and you can't hit him cleanly. He leans with the punches, he rolls with the punches. It's hard to catch him flush. He got caught flush with the right hand, and then he went down.
All right, and recapping your prediction on the future of the super middleweight division. We saw Lyles and Littles earlier.
Love to see Lyles and Roy Jones Jr. I think Roy Jones Jr. doesn't have that many tests out there. Lyles showed that he can punch. He's got the height and the reach. He can box. It's a good test.
And the Prince who will be king, how about the featherweights?
Well, he's got a little ways to go before he can be king. I think Vasquez and Johnson and Azuma Nelson all have something to say about that.
I'd like to see the Prince and the Professor, Azuma Nelson.
I'd like it.
Oof, and so would the Prince. Let's take one final look at tonight's results from Newcastle, England. In our co-feature, it was Frankie Lyles defending his WBA super middleweight title against Tim Littles. And in a foul-plagued affair, it was Frank Lyles by TKO round 3. In our main event, Prince Naseem Hamed, as you just saw, against top-ranked Daniel Alisea for the WBO Featherweight Championship. Naseem Hamed coming off the canvas in the first to stop Alisea.